Hey everyone, today on I Cook and Paint, we are going to make this savory sausage pizza roll that everyone loves. My friend Pat taught me how to make this, and you know what guys? I think it's going to be your next favorite. Here's how you make it. So right here I have some warm water, and I'm going to add to this some sugar and some active dry yeast. And this is for the crust, by the way. So you're going to want to let this sit for 10 minutes until the yeast is nice and foamy. So now I'm going to swirl down this foam and add in some salt and some extra virgin olive oil. And for all these measurements for the complete recipe, just click the link down below and it'll take you to my blog right to this very recipe. Okay, now I'm going to start adding in some flour, and I'm looking for a really soft dough here. So I'm going to add in 2 cups of flour. You can do this in a stand-up mixer with a dough hook if you want to, or you can just do it by hand like what I'm doing. And you need to knead this dough for did I just say that? Knead this dough. If it keeps sticking on you, just add in more flour, and you're looking for a dough that's smooth and elasticy. It's probably going to take about 8 to 10 minutes to knead this, but this is what it should look like. Okay, now I'm going to take some cooking oil and add it to my bowl, and then I'm going to take my dough and toss it all around so it gets totally coated with the oil. Then I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap and let it rest for an hour and a half to 2 hours until it's doubled in bulk. Now here I have me some sausage meat, and what I did earlier was I took 6 sausages and I cut them out of their casing. I just made a slit down the side and peeled the casing right off. I'm using a hot Italian sausage here, but you can use any type you want. Do this to all of them, and then you want to take the meat and kind of crumble it in your fingers so it's nice and loose. So go ahead and fry this sausage in your hot skillet, and you don't have to add any oil or any seasonings to this. And this is probably going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, Paul, to cook, and make sure you really crumble it up really well so it's nice and loose. Now when this is done cooking, you're going to want to drain off this meat because there's a lot of fat in sausage meat, and you don't want all that fat in your pizza roll. Ooh, so drain it really well, get all that fat out of there, and then you can just take this meat and return it right back to your skillet. Okay, now I'm going to add in some onions and peppers. So earlier I sliced up an onion and I sliced up a nice green pepper. You can put whatever you want in your pizza roll. Basically anything you like on pizza. So tomatoes, mushrooms, olives, whatever you want. I'm going to add these onions and peppers to the meat, and I want to cook this for another 10 minutes to get all the flavors out of there. And you want the onions and peppers to look kind of translucent. And speaking of onions and peppers, I also love to paint them. So when you go to my blog to get this recipe, don't forget to check out my paintings while you're there. Now here's what your dough should look like after a couple of hours. It should be doubled in size. So you want to take this and punch it out into a rectangle right onto the counter. So I actually measured the rectangle that I made, and it was 14 inches in width by 12 inches in height. So as you can see here, it's not very thick at all. It's almost like a thin crust pizza. And if you look really closely, it's probably about 1/4 of an inch thick. You have to let this rest for 10 minutes, and it's actually going to rise a little bit during that time. And then you can go ahead and top this off with some pizza sauce. Make sure you leave a little bit of a border around the edges there. And then you can follow this with some mozzarella cheese. Don't put a lot of cheese on this. This dish isn't about the cheese. This is about this beautiful sausage filling that goes on next. And you want to make sure that this stuff is cooled completely before you put it on here. I put this on hot once and disaster. So now you can go ahead and roll this up like it's a jelly roll or a strudel. So take your time doing this. That's just nice and slow. And then you can go ahead and tuck in the 2 ends just like this. I know I say go ahead a lot, guys, but I don't know, I just can't help it. Now I'm going to put this on a greased cookie sheet. I also sprinkled cornmeal on underneath this. You might have to rewind it and see, but there is cornmeal under here. Now before I bake this, I always like to drizzle it with some olive oil, and I never measure this part. I just put about 1 tablespoon or so on there, brush it all over, get it all nice and glistening, and this is going to give it a really nice crispness, and it's going to make it taste really yummy. Now you want to bake this in a preheated 350 degree oven Fahrenheit for 35 to 40 minutes, or until it's nice and golden brown. So you should also be able to hear it bubbling a little bit from the inside. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. It's so yummy. Yet the bad news is you have to wait at least 10 minutes before you cut into this, because it does have to rest a little bit. But when you do cut into it, here's what it looks like. Pat, I am so happy you taught me how to make this. Everyone I've made it for has fallen in love with it. Hey, did you guys enjoy this video? Then let me know by giving me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to I Cook and Paint. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.